YouTube ads are a mystery to many of us, even if you've been running ads on other platforms for years. Let's talk about how to create YouTube pre-roll ads. One of the best ways to get started with YouTube ads is by creating pre-roll ads. And what exactly is that again? Don't worry, we'll cover all of the requirements of a YouTube pre-roll ad in today's video. And above all the other tips you can find online, there's one key that can make or break a pre-roll ad. So stay tuned, I'll tell you all about that. And if you want tips to entice your viewer in less time, I'll give you 3 of them to keep in mind for not only any pre-roll ad, but any video you create. So what is a YouTube pre-roll ad? It's an ad that appears right before the video that you want to watch. It can be up to 2 minutes long, but the sweet spot for advertisers is between 15 to 25 seconds. Maybe you even saw one right before you watched this video. Pre-roll ads don't have a defined call to action, so you'll mostly be charged on a cost per view basis. Pre-roll ads are great because you can be specific about where you want to place them based on the viewer's interest. So if I know that I want my videos to be on channels that are about marketing, I can be specific to say, I want to put these in front of videos that I know my audience is looking at about marketing. I've even seen some pre-roll ads from a competitor right before the video, and they were really funny in it saying, hey, don't watch this video, click this instead. That competitor doesn't know what they're talking about, come to our stuff instead. So not that I'm telling you to be a little competitive like that, but it really captured my attention to see that. Now, before we get into the key to a successful pre-roll ad, have you subscribed to this channel yet? Hit that red button below to get brand new content marketing strategies and business acceleration tips straight to your YouTube feed 5 days a week. Are you ready for this? This is the most important key to a successful pre-roll ad. And think about your behavior when you're watching a video. You've clicked on that video, you just want to watch it, and sometimes the ad can be annoying. It's a distraction that you have to sit through. You know, it usually says like, this video will play in 6 seconds before you can skip through. So in that time, you want to hook your audience in. You need to hook your audience in that first 5 seconds, or else they're gonna click through and completely forget about you. So you can accomplish this by knowing your audience. What are the things that are gonna keep them on the edge or give them that cliffhanger that they think, well, now I need to keep watching this? If you know your audience well, you can speak to them better. So where do they live? What language do they speak? What keywords do they search? What topics are they watching? And what interests do they have? If you know that about them, you can capture them with some sort of attention-grabbing hook. And that hook can be something like an engaging question that really tugs at their heartstrings or nails their pain point that makes them go, oh my gosh, yes, that is me. It's like they're in my head. Or you can have an ad that captures their attention with a shock factor or something that's humorous that makes them want to keep watching. I'd love to hear from you because we have all had to sit through some ads and we've also been distracted by some really good ones. What are some ads that have captured your attention and maybe even led you to becoming a paying customer? One of my favorite places to get ideas for ads is by just looking at other people's ads or looking at the commercials that we see on TV. Now I know with Netflix and so many other platforms, we don't always have to sit through commercials, but look what happens around Super Bowl time. People love watching the commercials because we know the quality of them are going to be excellent. So watch those great quality commercials and ask yourself, what is it about them that caught your attention? And when you know that, that can give you some inspiration for what to put in yours. So now I'm going to share with you some of my tips for pre-roll ads based on some of the things that I've observed in my own behavior from the ads that I've enjoyed watching. My first tip is to try to make your ad more compelling than the video itself so that people are prompted to click on your call to action. If you think of the Old Spice commercials, that's one that comes to mind when I think of compelling ads. You know, the guy in the Old Spice commercial and he's like sitting on a horse or he's on a boat and he's doing something crazy and fast-paced and ridiculous. Sure, if it was just a guy holding up a bar of soap or a bottle of body wash and just saying, hey, this stuff is good, it was what was on screen and how fast-paced it was and how humorous it was. So what can you do that's going to align with the messaging that gives them that visual and also an emotional reaction to what you're sharing? My second tip is to target your audience as much as possible, especially using YouTube's targeting options. You have a ton of possibilities here. Remember I told you the story of how I saw an ad where I was going to be looking at a specific software's YouTube video, and before that, their competitor came on screen saying, hey, you don't want to watch this video, what they do doesn't work, but this is so much better. So that was very specific targeting. They knew what they were doing and knew that the person watching that video would be their exact customer demographic because it was their competitor. Now, I'm not saying you have to do that by specifically targeting your competitors' videos, but if you know that you're within a certain niche or that your customers have specific interests, you can be specific in targeting that you put your pre-roll videos before videos that are aligned with that topic or industry or interest. This is why it's so important to do customer avatar exercises. Now, I would have been the first person to roll my eyes at that. I used to hate customer avatar exercises, like answering the questions of what kind of neighborhood do they live in and what keeps them up at night and what magazines do they read. I hated answering those. I thought it was a waste of time. But when I finally did sit down and do that exercise, it changed everything in my business, because when I can understand my audience better than my competitor, I'm going to be able to speak to them in a way that they relate to more than anyone else. Have you ever seen an ad or looked at a social media post that you felt like the person just knew you? They were speaking your language, they understood your pain points, or they'd gone on an emotional journey that you could relate to and thought, this person is just like me. And it creates that know, like, trust factor where if you feel like they understand you, even if you haven't met them, you feel like you can follow their journey and they probably have solutions to problems that you've been experiencing. One way you can consider looking at your audience is as if they were a version of you like 3 years ago. Your before picture is likely their current reality. So think about that when you're creating your ads. What would a previous version of you be captivated by? Speaking of captivating, that leads me to my third tip, which is to have a story within that 15 to 25 second period. Now, I'm not saying open a book, once upon a time, happily ever after kind of story, but ideally you're bringing people along an emotional journey. You're painting a picture for them of what life could look like with your solution, or you're tugging at their heartstrings, or you're nailing the pain point that they're experiencing, and so that they can watch it and be captivated by that. Think about any movie that you've watched. Why are you so on the edge of your seat throughout the whole entire journey? Why do you cheer loud when the hero wins at the end of the movie? Well, it's because you saw what they've gone through. You saw them hit rock bottom. You saw them work their way up and fight the villain and land the dream job and get the girl and whatever the big epiphany is at the end of the movie. You went along the journey with them. So when you're creating an ad, think about the emotions you want to entice your audience to feel. Memories are created when there's an emotion attached to the message. So if you can be memorable in your ad, that's what's going to get your audience to want to follow through and take action on your call to action. Running pre-roll ads is just one of the ways that you can be generating leads and turning them into high-ticket clients, which is my favorite thing to help my clients with. If you're ready to take your marketing to the next level and build an evergreen lead generation machine, click the link below, reserve your spot in my next free training. This is a free training called Hello to High Ticket, where I'm going to help you get more high-ticket clients in your business.